Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get straight into this tonight because tonight is an important topic.
Lloyd, welcome to the studio again.
Thank you.
And cheers. It's that footage is just absolutely beautiful of our beautiful bay.
Special bay.
It is.
Very
it is.
special
And we've just as by way of introduction, like you did say, you hit up Raggy Charters, but I know that that your heart lies in conservation at its core, and I think Raggy Charters just seems to be a crutch that you have to lean on to get where you want to be.
Well, exactly. We started the conservation work 30 years ago,
Yeah.
and after spending 5 years trying to get people to sponsor us, we just decided to make our own money.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, we're a conservation operation
Yeah.
that uses a business to generate funds that we can carry out our projects.
Okay, oh, that's magic, and I've been out on the boat. It was an incredible experience. I mean, I could not believe the amount of sea life in our bay and quite close by, you know.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, I've been to quite a few hotspots around the world, like the Galapagos Islands and in Australia, and you know, Algoa Bay is it's right up there with the best. And I think that's why we get so many tourists that come to look. You know, tourism in our bay generates 7 billion rand annually, and employs like 45,000 people.
Yeah,
So that's huge. We are the bottlenose dolphin capital of the world.
Okay.
We've got 28,500 dolphins that use our bay. It's totally by far
28,500 dolphins, people.
It's the most in the world. Yeah, the closest is somewhere in Australia. They've got about 4,000. But you know,
we're like 4 or 5 times bigger than
anywhere else. And bottlenose, people love to see bottlenose dolphins.
Okay.
In the beginning, I used to think, that's not so important because we see them all the time. But people, that's what they want. After 10 minutes with a humpback whale, like today, there's still some humpback. People were like, okay, we can move on.
Yeah.
But they don't want to move on from the dolphins. So, you know, we've got the dolphins, we've got the sardine run, which is incredible. The BBC are filming that every year. They come to Algoa Bay. And that's seen by 200 to 300 million people. We've got the humpback migration that goes past here. We've got
just explain that because that we spoke about it on the last show, but they come from up Namibia side.
Okay, no. So the sardines and the anchovies, that's your bait fish, the fish that eat plankton. All right, they basically recruit on the Agulhas Bank, which is south of Cape Agulhas, in that big, very productive area. And from there they start.
So they breed there.
They breed, breed there. They recruit there. Their larvae get washed in there.
Is that the joining of the oceans there?
That area.
Warm and cold.
Warm and cold, but lot of upwelling, lot of nutrients. Okay. So then they start moving up the coast.
Yes.
And we get them all the way from February, March, April, but May even. By June, they've moved up towards East London, and then they go through the bottleneck north of Port St John's, and then they go up towards.
What's the bottleneck? Is there?
It's where the continental shelf comes very close to the shore, and if the sardines got into the Agulhas current, they'll go the wrong way. So they're trying to go up. So they've got to wait for the cold water to push through that, and they go up with the cold water, and then the cycle starts again. But while they come up, every single known predator. Just about in the bay is after them. So the penguins are after them, the gannets are after them, the seals are after them, the common dolphins, the humpback dolphins, the bottlenose dolphins, the Brutus whales, our resident whale, the game fish, the sharks. Everything is munching this whole. It's the biggest sort of migration of meat on the planet.
Is that a bait ball?
So that's a bait ball. So what's happened here is the dolphins, they make everything happen. Not your bottlenose, your common dolphins. They get the fish, the bait fish, say the sardines and anchovies, into a statutory ball. Stationary. It's not moving.
Oh, right.
And they bring it closer to the surface. That allows the gannets to feed. Because the gannets, sometimes they can't go more than about 15, 20 meters. So that's what helps them. And
20 meters is quite far down.
Yeah. They come 100 kilometers an hour.
So, and you can see those birds that are just going like.
And then once they've kind of fed, then the Brutus whale, which you'll see in the next clip, he's picked up that bait ball being stationary for about a couple of kilometers away with a low frequency sound wave. He picks it up and he knows it's stationary, and he'll come underneath and he'll take everything that's left.
No way. The whole lot. Yeah, I absolutely love that. I just love it. It's incredible, and you guys are so close there. It's great.
Brilliant.
And I mean, I know you guys. When was that taken? When was that done?
That was just before the ship-to-ship refueling started.
Okay. Gee whiz. Okay,
Yeah.
that was done. There's a dolphin there jumping out of the water. That's what you see.
Yeah, that's what we're seeing now. You know, we've got these tourists expecting this most amazing experience,
Pristine.
and we've won all these awards because of the animals. And I mean, these animals are jumping around in between the bunker barge.
Look at that. There's a barge thing. There's another one. There's another ship there, right there with these.
That's happening. That is this hotspot of biodiversity and nutrients and fish and food is right in the middle
A national
of
park,
where
basically.
they are bunkering. I mean, doing these ship-to-ship fuel transfers, and it's right next to the marine protected area.
Yeah.
You couldn't have it in the worst place.
It's kind of like I see it. It kind of almost like Kruger National Park. Okay, we're going to put oil wells there in Kruger National Park.
We're going to mine it or something.
Yeah.
Can I maybe just say something about our standpoint on this fuel transfer?
Yeah.
We're not against it.
Yeah.
Okay, so it happens in Cape Town and it happens in Durban. But they're the ships that need to get a fuel transfer. They go into the port
harbour.
and it's controlled and they're filled.
Yeah.
All right. What's happening in Algoa Bay is it's being done on the open sea.
Yeah.
And the guys that do the cleanups, they can put as many booms around as they want. That isn't going to stop. So what we're saying to the minister, we want it made safer. Either they must take it away, they must go into a port and to do the transfer there.
Yeah.
And you know, if there's a whole lot of money coming into the economy, which Mike will cover just now,
Yes,
that's
we'll
great.
talk about,
But that's not happening.
Yeah.
That's not happening at all. And you know, the ship-to-ship fuel transfer people are, I think the last time we saw it was 54 jobs.
Yeah.
And no money. So what do we...
The money is not coming to us. The
We're
money
paying
is not
Russian
coming.
roulette with our beautiful bay.
Yes.
They can't even clean up a small spill.
Yeah.
Imagine if we get a major one.
Yeah.
And also, you know, this fuel spill guys, Kevin Kelly and them, they've got stuff that absorbs the fuel or the oil on top of the surface.
Yeah.
But some stuff sinks
Yeah,
to
of
the
course.
bottom. I mean, some of it on the last oil spill went through the marine park, the marine protected area, and washed up on the beach. Those big tar balls.
Yeah.
Other stuff goes in emulsion. So you can clean the top, but that's not all of it.
Terrible. And it's because it's that thick stuff. I mean, I'm sure we'll talk.
Yeah, not
about it
only
later.
that, you know, when you transfer this heavy furnace oil from one vessel to another, you've got to heat it up.
Yeah.
What happens when you heat something?
Yeah,
It gives off fumes.
Yeah.
Those fumes are going into the water.
Yeah.
Even the deck wash, when they wash, and the chemicals and stuff they use to clean or whatever, that's all going into the water.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the penguins wouldn't be none.
Yeah. They would be thriving, of course. It's a meter.
Because the next island, Bird Island, which is the control, on Bird Island, they're doing that. The numbers are staying the same. On the rest of the penguin colonies around South Africa, the numbers are staying the same.
Okay.
It's only St. Croix, which was the biggest.
Yeah.
I know the scientists were on there last week. It's been destroyed.
Yeah. Bay is an awesome asset that we have. There's another breaching whale there.
Yes, so have a look at that picture. That's now a southern right whale. The southern right whales traditionally would come into North End and down towards the Jaleel, that little island just off Kucha. And they've gone from that area because of all the noise. You know, these ships are generating a lot of noise and a lot of mess and, you know, all that sewage and stuff going on. So they've all moved down to Sunday's River in the marine protected area. So at least they've got a haven there. They're safe down there. But this guy was now on his way out. And just behind that well, there's a bunker barge now refueling another ship, transferring thousands and millions of liters of the most toxic substance on this planet that comes out of... that goes into engines.
It's just a ticking time bomb. I mean, it's going to happen. It's going to happen that there's going to be a major spill. There's just no doubt about it if it carries on.
And they want to double up on the amount of people, the amount of companies operating. So that just increases your odds and decreases the penguins even more.
Just to show you what's been happening. 2002.
Yeah. So this was a photograph. I started Raggy Charters in 1997. And then I didn't have a camera in those days, but this was a photograph I took in 2002. And at that point in time, St. Croix Island was home to 60,000 African penguins. It was the largest colony on the planet.
Look at those little buggers.
And yeah, it is absolutely incredible to see this. And this is where I first started taking tourists, and they absolutely loved it.
Well, they were looking at you.
Now,
like, oi, what's going on here?
Even that is not a good representation, because we had about 1.5 million penguins, you know, and then things like when the first settlers came, they used to use the penguins to actually feed into the boilers because they had fat on to help the coal burn.
Good Lord.
Right. Then they went through the whole egg collecting phase where the people took all the eggs off. Not only that, they'd go and crush the eggs on the island so that the penguins would relay, and then they would take only the fresh ones. Penguins, Wednesday in Parliament, penguin eggs.
Really?
Scrambled eggs, yeah.
Oh, really? Scrambled eggs?
Yeah. And then, big problem, 1967. They closed the Suez Canal after those wars, and the big oil tanker started coming past the Cape, and those oil spills killed thousands and thousands of penguins. So they kind of been nailed, and to that point we got to 60,000. Professor Lorian Pitcher, who did a lot of work on their foraging habits, how far they need to go to get to feed their chicks, and because of her work, it was found that obviously if you fish too close to the island, you're going to catch too many fish, and that the parents have got to swim too far to get food to feed the chicks. And I think it was as a result of her work and other scientists that this whole area was declared a marine protected area in 2019. So the whole area from St. Croix to Bird Island is protected. No one can fish there. So we thought, okay, this is cool. The penguins are going to start going up on the trajectory up because they've got plenty of food and everything.
Yes. But
and what happened, if you look at the next photograph, this was just prior to when ship-to-ship refueling, fuel transfers started in 2016. This was 2015. So you can see there are a lot of penguins still on the island. But the important thing about why we're harping on penguins are an indicator species. And it's easy to study them. You can go onto the island and grab hold of them and measure them and weigh them and check their stomach contents. All right? So they indicate, if their numbers start falling, that's an indicator that there's something wrong with what's happening in the bay. They are yardsticks for what we can measure. Yes,
the canary of the sea.
That's right. Okay, so yesterday I took a picture.
Yes.
Of St. Croix Island. Look at that.
That's the same.
That makes me absolutely mad crazy when I look at that. That is what bunkering or ship-to-ship fuel transfers has caused in Algoa Bay.
Well, maybe we should start to delve into this now and see. We've got a couple of specialists coming on board. I know. Tell us, Mike is. We're going to get Mike on now just to talk about the finances a bit as well, and who's making what and what. But maybe you can give him a little bit of an introduction.
Yes,
what he is.
So yes, Mike Bellis is a retired engineer, a very accomplished one at that, and I think he's been involved with the sea for his whole life, I think, and he's a great fisherman. And I think he's at the point where he would like to put something back, and he's tirelessly working and following up leads on where the money is going to. Somebody once said to me, follow the money and all will be revealed. And that's what he has been doing.
Has it been like almost like a solo thing? Is he got to help? Is he where is he?
Well, Ranel helps him a bit. But he's on it.
Well, stick on your headphones. Let's get Mike in to have a quick chat with Mike and let's see what he's been doing all the way in Jeffreys Bay. Hello, Mike.
Hi there, guys. One of the large bunkering companies received permission to take on transferring fuel. They were the starting operator there. And to do that, they had to have a local company as a partner. They have a BE partner. And a BE partner obtains a commission from doing it. So what's happening is that the licenses are awarded to a company who in turn recruit an international shipping company to do the actual transfers. So there's not a lot of money that end up coming ashore.
It doesn't.
But that's the money side of it. But from the point of view, actual number of vessels which are operating in the bay, it's quite phenomenal. In 2020, there were over 1,200 fuel transfers that took place. That works out to around about 4 to 5 a day. Now, to have 5 ships being transferred, there were 9 bunkering barges operating in 2020, And for every 5 ships being fueled in a day, there's probably 5 more queuing up. So at any point in time on a day, you could have 20 vessels parked off in the bay with their engines running, with the bilge water being pumped out, with the sewage being pumped out all into the bay, and that happens every single day. So you've actually got a small town of people, if you like, camped out on the bay on all those vessels, and there's no services in terms of treating the effluent that's coming off the ships. The garbage is disposed of, all sorts of things like that. So the amount of pollution isn't just the oil spills; it's a whole lot of other things as well.
I mean, even if you walk up and down the beaches, there's all sorts of crap that washes up, and we have to constantly have these beach cleanups. Never mind the bilge water and the oil and the crap that's coming out of there.
Well, the other thing that's worrying, of course, is the amount of noise. A big vessel like you've seen on some of those shots there, those engines never stop. They make an awful lot of noise. They operate 24/7, and there's generators running, there's engines turning over, and there's dozens of them on the bay at any one point in time, all the time. And it's got to interfere with all those dolphins and whales and sardines and everything else that you see there. There's got to be an impact from the noise. The noise impact, I think, probably is very, very severe indeed. When it started, no one came along and said to Lloyd, what impact will it have on your business? No one spoke to the fishermen and said, what's it going to do to the chocker fishermen and so forth. So there's been no consultations at all with those communities.
Really?
None whatsoever.
Even the chocker bar, because the chocker's a big industry here as well, huh?
They
They are
public
horrified
meetings.
at what's going on.
You say they were at the public meeting as well?
They came, Dino Moodley, he came and gave they're firmly behind us. They're not happy with the bunkering, as well as the pelagic guys,
Pelagics?
Pelagics.
Just for normal people like us, what's pelagics?
Fish that don't live on a reef, fish that move around all over the show. And you get your reef fish that stay in one area, the whole last pelagic fish will move.
Like sardines are pelagic.
They're pelagic. Okay, I learned a new thing tonight. Okay. Do you have any final thoughts, Mike? And if there's Lloyd, if there's any ideas that you need Mike to cover before we move on.
I think the one important thing you mentioned, Mark, was the percentage of money that stays in the bay. Do you still have that statistic? The amount of money I seem to remember a third of the percent.
The amount of money. So, in other words, there's like 6 billion going on here that is going through, or that's been changed hands every year.
I don't want to guess at those numbers because we just don't know. But my guess is that 90% of that money ends up going to the refineries where the fuel comes from. It's an expensive commodity. It's like all petroleum products are expensive these days. So there's commissions paid to various people for doing various things. There's transport costs and so it goes on.
Okay.
But I would think the majority, 90% of it ends up back at the refinery.
So our next guest is Renell, who's just flown from somewhere to somewhere. Do you want to introduce him?
Yeah. So, Renell's been was introduced to the Algoa Bay and she's an industrial chemist, so she understands what goes down with the chemicals in this heavy furnace oil that they're using, and I think she took it on herself to do the research, and she drew up a 32-page concern report to the minister, all about bunkering and what's going on and why it shouldn't be allowed here. And that was sent. She didn't get a reply to that. But then we went through the whole lockdown phase, and she's come out there guns blazing. And she's from Dispatch, so she needs to be treated with caution.
From the patch, all the way from the patch, Renell. Hello. How's it, man? Lovely to see you. Thank you so much for coming on. And so Lloyd's introduced you as a bit of a firebrand, like a fighter, a warrior. Is that true?
All the dispatchers are warriors. So.
Ending it now. That's what's going to happen on the 1st of April.
On the 1st of April?
They're going to issue another 2 licenses. So now you're doubling up on what's already not working properly. And it's going to just increase the spills, and it's going to increase the amount of toxins that Renell can probably explain to us why this is so bad, going into the water with more operators, more boats, more movement, more everything.
And of course we've been so worried about the Shell seismic testing. The seismic testing's got nothing on this. This is way bigger.
Yeah, no, this is real impacts. The environment already has been affected. It's not going to be affected. It already has been affected.
Yeah.
Yes, okay, they don't call it heavy for nothing. The density, the density of the oil is 1,010 kilograms per cubic meter. That means it's heavier than water.
Yes.
So if it spills, a fraction will float, but the majority will actually sink because the density, it is so dense. HFO is the last bit that stays over when they refine the oil. So it is full of contaminants. It has these long chain carbons, and it is toxic as well.
Okay.
But the most important one is the density. Therefore, SAMHSA and everybody will tell you they have improved their spill control procedures. They have spill control contractors that stand by in the harbor. They can act like this, but in actual fact, it's not an oil that will float on the surface. So some of it will float on the surface, but the majority will emulsify, will disintegrate, not biodegrade, just disintegrate, and will actually be in the water itself. But you can't get it with this normal spill control method. It will stick to feathers, it will stick to fish, it will stick to algae, it will stick to plankton, whatever. And then we can see what happened in November. They had a spill. They cleaned the spill, but 2 weeks later, they had to pick up tar balls from the spill from the beach between Hogan Park and Sundays River, because then the spill moved through the MPA onto the beach.
All right, so I think we have one more guest, and that's with the penguins. Is that right?
That's right. This is the petition. So people have been asking what they can do to help. And Renelle and I started a anti-shark long-lining petition, because what was happening is that the longliners were catching far too many sharks along our coast, decimating shark populations. They set a line which is a few kilometers with baited hooks, and they catch all these beautiful sharks. They come up, head off, guts out, fins off. Fins go to the east. They use for shark fin soup. It's got no nutritional value. It's just to give it a consistency. And all the meat goes to Australia, the fillets. And then they eat, I was in Australia in 2019, it's flake and chips, mate.
Flake and chips,
mate. Yeah, that's what they eat. All our shark meat was going down Australian toilets.
Jeez.
Our sharks. And their sharks are all protected. Of course. So they were using us. So we petitioned the minister. We got 33,000 signatures. And the minister, Barbara Creasy, give her due. She came to the party. She appointed a panel of nine people. It was, I think, 6 scientists and three administrative people. And they reviewed the whole shark long-lining industry. And I think that's where we're sitting now with the petition. We need to get enough signatures on that. I'm not sure. I'm sure that our next speaker will tell us how many we've got. But people need to do that. And guys, please, share it with your groups and do it. Sign the thing. Get that. And then, as Renelle said, we must actually get the minister to come to here and let's take her out and show her. Let's get Barbara Creasy now.
Message that lady. We need her here. Tag her on Facebook. we need to get the minister down here to do it. Lloyd, do you want to introduce Monica Stassen?
She's from Sandcob, and she's going to speak about.
She works with Nikki at Sandcob, and she's very nice. Hello, Monica.
People keep saying, but these spills are small, but it's not the size, the volume of oil that is spilled that's the concern. It's the location. A very small amount of oil spilled can affect a lot of seabirds if it occurs anywhere near a seabird colony. So a few tons of oil spilled can affect a huge number of seabirds at St. Croix and a huge number of seabirds at Bird Island. If the weather is right and the currents are right and the time of year is right, we could have a major crisis.
You know, there's another thing that that we found out doing the experiments, is that when there's an oil spill, and my son was actually at the second oil spill, is that the penguins actually dived straight into the oil that was spilled.
Really?
And they thought, why are they doing this? And the reason they're doing that is that oil has got something called dimethyl sulfide. It's a chemical, which is the same chemical that when a zooplankton eats a phytoplankton, so when the plant plankton gives off dimethyl sulfide,
so
that smell. So that's their key. So they get there where the plant plankton's been eaten by the zooplankton, and that's where the fish are eating the animal plankton, and then that's obviously where the penguins catch them. So they are attracted to that oil.
It's like catnip for penguins.
Yeah.
Penguinip.
But not healthy.
No, not at all.
Way. Not healthy.
Not at all. And I know that Nikki's okay. So obviously we've got the petition which can help. What can we do with the petition? Do we take it to government? What do we do with it?
No, that's
It's a complicated story.
No, but we just take it to people. We need them to sign it now.
Yes.
People need to participate.
Yeah. So the more numbers we get,
signatures. We need a lot of signatures. You know,
Okay.
Numbers talk, and it shows that people are concerned and people are unhappy. So anyone that's having doubt that a petition is like, you know, people are thinking, oh, it's just another petition. It's not. We've seen it. I mean, I shared the example of the pelagic fish, the longline fishery. It got the government's attention. The shell seismic surveys also started with petitions. It got, yes, it ended up in legal, but it got attention. It got interest. It started something. And so we really need people to share, and sign the petition. Add your voice. It's critical. We're sitting at just over 11,300 signatures on the petition, and we would really love to see it, you know, hit.
You want hundreds of thousands.
Oh, I mean, that would be a dream.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. And it just takes a signature, for goodness sakes. It just takes a signature. And I think the link to the petition is in the description of this video. So if you look above, wherever you're watching on YouTube, or if you're watching on Facebook, you just look above and you can go into that thing, and there is a link that Gary has put into that thing as well. There we go. It's been such a learning curve for me from the time that
I told you I'd turn you into a conservationist.
No, we'll get there. And I'm still want to look at other stuff as well. We were talking about trees and we were talking about plant life and stuff as well. Is there any good news in this, Lloyd? Is there any good news that we can take out of I suppose the fact that we are in this already? I don't know.
I wish I could say there was some good news, but I can't.
Not yet.
I can't. You know, and when Renelle was talking, I started thinking about the food chains and how these toxins are going in. You know, dolphins, for example, you know, they'll eat that food and it'll gradually build up.
Yes.
And then those toxins will actually be passed on, especially the first calf will get the mother load of toxins. And we found that with DDT.
Yes,
and
with
stuff
the owls and stuff.
Yeah, but no, but
the predators.
I mean, how's this story talking about poisons?
Yeah.
We had some scientists on the boat once, and they were working with penguin eggs on Bird Island.
Yeah.
And they found DDT in the penguin eggs.
What?
And they had to work out where does this DDT come from, and guess where it comes from?
From the rivers.
From Zanine.
Zanine.
Up in is that Mpumalanga?
Yeah,
Mpumalanga. Yeah. So they're spraying DDT, on food, whatever. It gets washed off. It goes into the Limpopo. It goes down to the coast. Goes into the current. The current comes past here. It gets absorbed by the plankton, the plant plankton, animal plankton, the sardines, anchovies. It ends up into penguins. The penguins transfer it into the egg.
Unbelievable.
So that's coming from the... Now, can you imagine all these toxins that are coming off these boats that are starting to go into the food chains for the last... They're going to end up in the dolphins. And the dolphins are going to pass it on to their calves. And the first calves has been... You know, they get rid of the toxins first.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's... And there... You know, there were always scientists in environmental affairs and fishery that would study this and guide us.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem to be happening now. They're getting
So we need
getting muzzled.
We need the science guys to come out as well, and we need the politicians to actually do their job as well.
Let's get Barbara Creasy down here.
Barbara is the lady.
We need her here.
I see Gary's just put a question there. Are there any? What are the next steps and the likelihood of success? He says. Petition 1 to try and get.
Got to get the petition to get the support.
Yeah.
Then we are looking at the legal routes, but that's a lot of money. So there's some initial, we can write letters, legal letters.
Okay.
But then when it comes to litigation, you're probably looking at a huge amount of money. So if that's where we have to go, that's where we have to go. And we've got some very good attorneys that have both been involved in the seismic surveys, and we feel like we actually struck a blow for freedom there.
Yes.
Our tails are up.
Yeah.
So we can take these guys on, and I'm sure we will find. If we have to find the money, we will find it.
Yeah. It's got to be every single time this happens. Everything is something we've got to look at every single industry, every single thing, because the corporates are always going to take a little bit more than they should, or a lot more than they should actually. So
Got to do it.
Thank you very much, Lloyd.
There's no one else. There's no one else.
It's only us, guys. It's only us. It's our bay. We've got to make a plan here. We've got to make a plan. Thank you so much for coming on board. It's been great. I think we've learned a lot and a different Gino Spot for